Everybody to open in about 16 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and set this room real quick and we'll get started shortly with our analysis for today. It's got a couple of things here to update and we should be good to go. Yeah, so I got them a little earlier today so that we can make sure that we knock everything out before market open. So should be enough time. Yeah, this way we're not in so much of a rush. All right, let me get this link sent out to you guys here in the premium. Okay, perfect. Get a few moments for people to make their way in. And we will get started shortly. Now, all right, hey guys, morning everybody. Today's Wednesday, June 14th. It is 6:16 right now. Got on a little earlier today. I want to make sure we knock everything out before the session starts. I just want to get in a bit earlier so that we can mark up liquidity and just have everything ready to go as soon as the market does open. So morning Hussein, morning CJ, morning everybody. I'll give a few more moments for people to make their way in. But I'll start marking up things like news price. We had news over here at 5:30 PPI. Producer price index right here at 5:30 was negative, like as anticipated. So we had news right there at 5:30. I'm gonna go and mark that up right here real quick. Obviously, you guys can see where the news price was. It's the weird candle right here, crazy candle. We got that right there. And then I think we have another news event here at 7:30. Next news event is crude oil inventories. And then today's Fed day at 11 o'clock. So we got crude oil inventories over here at 7:30. And I think that's it for right now. So, all right, guys, other than that, looks like people are still making their way in. Morning, Sir, morning, Daniel. Morning, everybody. I'm going to start off by marking up liquidity here on the daily time frame. So let's see. So we got liquidity here. Liquidity right there. We got liquidity right here. Right there. There and down here. And last one down there. All right, so we got the daily liquidity marked up. Let's go down to the 8-hour. One more liquidity right there. There. there and right there. All right, 4-hour time frame. I don't see any liquidity here, so we're good. 2-hour. We got a lot of liquidity right here. Hour. Two-hour. I mean, a lot of this stuff's probably not going to get hit, but I'm just going to mark it up anyways. We got time today. It's not necessary that you guys mark up labels, but I think it's helpful and beneficial for all of us. Got the 2-hour marked up, now the 1-hour. All right, so it looks like the 1-hour liquidity might be the closest to current price. We'll see. We will see how this ends up panning out. All right, let's go to the 30-minute. 30-minute liquidity right there. There. So as you guys can see, there's a lot of liquidity that's built up down below. So I think once the obviously once the buy starts to shift to the downside, there's gonna be a lot of liquidity to catch on the bottom end because there's a lot of liquidity that's just been sitting here for days, if not weeks. It's been a long time. It's kind of messy, but we'll see how we can use it to our advantage. Okay, there's actually a lot of liquidity sitting around here. A lot of the lower time frames because price has been ranging outside the US session. Closest level right here is actually a 15-minute liquidity. I don't know if it's going to be that strong, but we'll see. Like strong enough to really push, at least 300 pips or so. Go down to the 10. As you guys can see right here, price has pretty much been going sideways, like all throughout Asia session. So we got a 10-minute liquidity right there. I think that's going to be a little weak. Might even get hit before market open. And I think that's it with liquidity. So as you guys can see right here, price is basically going sideways. It's pretty obvious, where price is going right here. It's not really moving too much. It's pushing down a little bit. It might hit the bottom liquidity before market opens. But I mean, we'll see what happens in the next couple minutes or so. Because this 2-hour liquidity looks like it's going to get hit before market open. Other than that, yeah, we got a 10-minute liquidity here. I don't know if it's going to be very strong. Looks like it might be a little weak. Let's take a look at the overall bias now. So we've marked up pretty much all liquidity. I'm going to go and mark up overall bias over here. Looks like that lower liquidity just got hit. So let's go back to liquidity real quick. Yeah, it got hit right there. Quick little push below. 100 pips if you guys are going for it. Or it's still pushing. It's pre-market, so I don't really like taking liquidity pre-market. It's too close to market open, so I wouldn't really mess with it. But that is the 2-hour liquidity right there getting knocked out. Let's take a look at the overall buy. So let's take a look at fundamentals first. Fundamentals are currently pre-market. They're currently down 72 points. Not very strong. I think price may be bearish during New York session, and then during the Fed meeting, it's going to go back up. So I mean, we'll see what happens. There goes that liquidity push that's currently running right now. This is a pre-market liquidity, not really one I'd take, but I just put it out there for you guys. So fundamental bias is currently neutral bearish. It is negative 70 points. So it's not very strong, but still there. Let's take a look at the retail sentiment right now. Retail sentiment is currently 62% short, so it's bullish for the day. Looks like that liquidity just hit full TP. Barely tapped it. It went straight to full TP and it bounced right off. So yeah, retail sentiment's currently bullish. 62% short. Let's take a look at the technical bias. So looking over here on the technical bias, the short-term timeframes are currently bearish. As you guys can see, prices below the pivots, the trend meter is red, and the pivots are all angling down. So with that said, we have a short-term bearish bias over here. However, the higher time frames are still bullish. You can see over here on the 30 minutes currently bearish neutral. It's starting to shift bearish. However, the higher time frames here, the 1 hour and the 4 hour, are still bullish, very bullish. So with that said, we currently have a neutral long-term bias because they're mixed right now. 30 minutes bearish, 1 hour is neutral, and 4 hours is bullish. So we can't really say if it's bullish or bearish. It's more so on the neutral side. So we don't really have a strong bias right now, as you guys can see. Retail sentiment is 62% short, bullish. Fundamental bias is currently neutral, bearish, 70 points red. Short-term technicals are bearish, and the long-term technicals are neutral at the moment. So good morning, everybody. It is Wednesday, June 14th. It is 6:26 right now. Market's going to open in about 4 minutes. I got on a bit early today just to have everything marked up and ready for market open. And it looks like we're good to go. We have overall bias here. We also have liquidity marked up. It looks like we're pretty much set for market open in the next 3 minutes. Morning, Daniel. Morning, Dan. Morning, Satya. Morning, T. Morning, Maria. Morning, Kenny. Morning, everybody. All right, so the liquidity right there just got knocked out. It's 2-hour liquidity that got pushed to the bottom side right there. It's going to hit this next level of liquidity, which is going to be the 1 hour. So 2-hour liquidity there got hit pre-market. It's getting close to the 1 hour liquidity right here. It's too close to market open though. So if you guys do plan on taking any trades, I'd probably just sit out right now because it's just way too close to market open at the moment. So it's probably gonna hit this 1 hour liquidity, but next 3 minutes. So it's not really one that I would necessarily mess with. But overall bias today is kind of mixed. Retail sentiment long-term is going to be bullish. Fundamentals bearish, neutral. And the short term is going to be bearish as well. Right there. See where this ends up going. Nice. Yeah, Satyam said pre-market liquidity in the pocket. So Satyam here actually caught the sell liquidity right there for the 2 hour. Locked in some pre-market profit. So be careful to see what market moves shortly. So news happened right here at 5:30. News was bearish. We have more news coming up at 7:30, crude oil. And we'll see where this ends up going. But yeah, I think it might continue dropping or it might continue to be bearish and neutral during our live session. And I think it's going to pick back up. I see you later on today. There goes another 100 pip push to the downside right here, or the next level of liquidity. And I marked this liquidity a while ago. So 2 liquidity pushes right there, full TPs for 100 pips right there and right there. If you guys didn't sit in on the mentoring session that I had one-on-one with Hussein yesterday, it was pretty good. A lot of people enjoyed it. I gave 2 different liquidity pushes that might be safer in your favor, so you don't have to risk so much. If you guys want to check that out, feel free to pull up the YouTube channel, youtube.com/KodiTaiTrades and rewatch that. Anyways, guys, market is opening in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Market is now open. So 2 liquidity pushes right there, done with. As you guys can see, I'm going to go and clean this up so that you guys are not confused with the liquidity. So I'm cleaning this up right here. News this morning was bearish. If price hits liquidity right here, I'm not going to take it. Price is way too overextended. If anything, I'll wait for it to pull back for a fake out, and then maybe I'll catch it as it comes back down further. But right now, definitely not going to take this area of liquidity because it's just way too overextended. As you guys can see, price is pushed down from this top area right here. Pushed down about 1,000, like well over 1,000 pips. So it's going to have to retrace up a little bit at least. Sitting there probably pretty bearish. Yeah, not super bearish, but so price is way overextended right now. So wait a bit. Definitely probably not enter right away. And even if I do decide to enter, I'll probably take it for partial, but for the most part 100 pips. So we'll see where this ends up going. Let's see where the fundamentals are now. Market 5 points. Thanks, Daniel. So it's definitely bearish now. But it's still a mix. Long-term bias, because of the retail sentiment, is still bullish. I'll probably wait for it to pull back up for that retracement, but it's way too overextended. As you guys can see, price has dropped about 1,000, 400 pips now. It's a big drop. So price might swing back up. Maddie just sent this link out for CNBC. Yeah, so CNBC just reported that the Dow dropped a whole bunch as it counts down a Fed decision, which is going to be pushing price back up. Gion's asking if there's a V1 pending. There's no V1 right now because there's no overall bias. So there's a V1 pattern, but it's not a V1 variation. Bias right now is mixed. Retail sentiment's bullish, fundamentals are bearish. Short term is bearish, long term is bullish neutral. So it's a little mixed right now. I probably wouldn't take any buys at the moment because it's kind of pushing through right here. Yeah, no problem, John. Right now you can see price is way overextended. It's dropped down about 1,500 pips almost. I would not take a liquidity push right here if it comes down and touches. I wait for it to retrace up a little bit. CJ's asking, hey Sean, I haven't taken any myself, but 2 liquidity pushes got hit pre-market. The 2-hour and 1-hour liquidity got hit. Didn't take it because it was too close to market open, but those got hit. We haven't hit anything since open yet. So this is the first level of liquidity right here. This is the retracement I was talking about, guys. This is exactly why I wouldn't enter right away. You can see how price is pushing back up. Kind of want to wait for it to sit for a bit. And then possibly price does end up coming back down. Maybe take it for a partial, just for a quick 100 pips or something like that. I'm gonna see what level of liquidity is this. This is a 2-hour liquidity right here. So price does come back down. I actually wanted to consolidate here a better range. If that's the case, then we'll wait for that, and then we'll see, if there's any opportunity for entry. But you can see price push right back up to opening price right here. So if you guys remember, I mentioned, price is going to be the threshold for target price point. Price came right back up, did the opposite of news like Maddie mentioned, and we'll see where this ends up going from here. So there you go, through correction back to the upside. This is why you guys don't want to chase moves, because if you chase moves like that, most of the time it's going to be a mess. So no liquidity yet. If we do end up getting liquidity on the top side right here, I still won't take this right away, because you can see that price again is overextended to the upside. It was overextended to the downside and now pushed up in the opposite direction. It's just the same thing. It's still overextended, right? It's up like 1,000 pips now. If it pushes all the way up to this liquidity, it's going to be up 1,500 pips. It was just down 1,500 pips. Now, I probably wait for it to fake out, because there's probably going to be fake outs. When price reaches these areas, the top side and the bottom side, it's probably going to fake out a bit. It's going to fake out in both directions until it actually decides, okay, I'm going to go in this direction, or I'm going to go in this direction. So just keep that in mind, guys. It's pretty mixed right now. Let's take a look at retail sentiment. All right, retail sentiment has not changed very much. Fundamentals over here are still very bearish. Only down 142 points. Not super strong, but it's still down, quite a bit. So still bearish. Some technicals are getting a little mixed now. Long term still the same. So they're basically both the sides are pretty neutral right now for the most part. So here it goes. Price comes back down and comes back up. It's pretty much just going sideways now. So I'm just going to mark up the higher high and lower low so that you guys can see the tops and bottoms of the area right now. It's just in a huge range right now. So here's a clean chart. See, prices in this really big range. It's not really a clean area at all. Very indecisive price. I mean, price can really go either direction. Long-term bias is still bullish. Short-term bias is bearish right now. So price can really go either direction. Not really going to predict where it's going to go. I'm just going to wait for it to come to this area. If price comes down here, it's probably going to keep dropping. Price comes up here, it's probably going to keep pushing up. The thing is, the Fed news is supposed to be good. So I think, as I mentioned earlier, I kind of warned you guys this was going to happen. I said during our New York session, price is probably going to be a bit bearish, or it's just going to go sideways. And then when the Fed news comes out at 11, it's probably going to be bullish. So just a matter of time until, something here ends up playing out. But right now it's just kind of sitting at opening price. So now it's starting to range around this area. It's probably going to establish a new lower low, higher high around this area. And it's just going to continue ranging. We'll see. Just got to wait for this here to confirm a bit, and then we'll see if we can hopefully get to one of these areas of liquidity. You just want to look at market structure. Make sure market structure is, for the most part, ranging or consolidating prior before hitting liquidity, because once it finally does, it's probably going to blast right through it. You're just going to get people betting on both sides. Right now, looks like people are either getting wiped out or they're just kind of sitting there and waiting. Seems like nobody's really in the market at the moment because volatility here is kind of slow. You can see volatility is crazy here on open. Whoever chases sell right here just got wiped out as price pushed up. And then whoever's chasing this push to the upside might get wiped out because price might come right back down. So you guys see what happened here? Market opened up, price came down. What happens when price drops like this? People chase the sells, right? Price pushed up right from this bottom point up here, about 1,000 pips. So whoever was chasing these sells just got wiped out. So he's got slaughtered. Price came down. Whoever chased the sells got slaughtered to the upside. And then whoever's now chasing it to the upside is going to get slaughtered as it comes back down. So this is what I mean about people getting caught with revenge trading, right? People will chase the sell. They'll get wiped out right here because price pushes up. Then they switch to a buy. When price comes right back down and wipes them out a second time. I'm sure that's happened to you guys before, where you guys chase a move, you get stopped out, you try to do the opposite, and then price comes right back and does the opposite again. So don't get caught in those traps, guys. Just wait for, a confirmation. Price is now going sideways. Eventually, price is going to have to push in one direction. It's going to push up and continue going up, right? Or it's going to push down and it's going to continue coming down. So just wait for that. You just got to be patient and wait for the setup to come. Setup hasn't come yet. So it's a matter of time until one of these areas gets hit. For me personally, I think I'd rather have this sell over here because this is a 2-hour liquidity. This is a 10-minute liquidity, but there is more liquidity sitting above. There's a 10-minute, 15-minute, 1 hour, and I think this is a 2-hour up here. Right here, we already have a 2-hour. And it's pretty clean. We got the 2-hour and then 30-minute down below. Up here, we got the 10-minute, 15, 1 hour, 30-minute liquidity. There's a lot of liquidity up top, but it's like weak liquidity. It's not very strong. So, I mean, I don't care. Price can go wherever it wants to go, but I'm trying to identify what the opposite is. It's kind of hard to really have a stance right now because the bias is mixed. If the bias wasn't mixed, then I'd be pointing in one direction or the other, right? I'd go in the direction of bias. But right now, there's a bias on both sides. It's looking more bearish right now for the moment, short term. Long term is still looking bullish because we have retail sentiment, which is 62% short, and then the long term is pretty much bullish as well. 4 hours is still pretty strong up here. The 1 hour and 30 minutes starting to shift, but I mean, we'll see. And then once we get that bias, we can start looking at V1 variations as well. You guys weren't able to sit in on the mentoring session with me and Martha, but I was mentioning, we'll keep checking the charts to see how the market moves for the next couple weeks or next couple months. If the market doesn't pick up and it keeps moving directional, then we'll probably swap out the high-low momentum scalp strategy with a different one, like maybe the SR rejection scalp or even like a V1 variation, because that's like a favorite for everybody. So we'll see, but I mean, it just depends on like how the market moves in the next, I guess, the next couple of weeks or so. Because the market should be more volatile right now, but it's just not. It's still moving the same. There's no zones down here, so there's no opportunities for SR rejection scalps. We'll leave that alone. We'll just stick with the main chart over here and the liquidity, and also the clean chart. Here's a clean chart. You guys can see price isn't really doing too much. It's just sticking around opening price right here. All right, here we go. As price comes back down. If it goes straight to liquidity, I'm not going to take it right away. Again, like I mentioned, guys, you want price to kind of consolidate a bit, because if price comes straight down to liquidity, it's probably going to fake out. It's too overextended. Right, you're going to get price touch there. Like this is basically what will typically happen. If you get a straight push to liquidity down here, what you'll typically get is you'll get something like this. Price will come down, it'll touch it, push back up again, touch it, and then blast through. And you guys have seen this. This is the same pattern that played out for like the past couple of days. Same thing, it's just a fake out. So what you would preferably want to see is you want to see price to come down a little bit, retrace, come down a little bit, retrace, come down a little bit, maybe even retrace further, and then come down and blast through it like that. This is the type of pattern that you actually want to see for liquidity. So, just be patient, guys. No need to force anything here, at least not yet. If I do go in from here, I'm probably only going to go in for 100 pips. Yeah. I'm not going to risk it today. It's just, you guys can see how the market's moving. It's not really moving smooth at all. If price pushes back up, don't be surprised if price comes back and retest opening price. See how price is pushing back up? The opening price right here just acts as a magnet. It just keeps sucking price right back into this area. Nice. Satyam over here caught the pivot scalp with the sell. Nice work, Satyam. It's crazy how Satyam is able to catch all these moves and he doesn't even have the indicators. He's not even on the premium. He's just on the YouTube, and he's just catching these as he sees them on the chart. So nice work right there, Satyam. Yeah, there we go. Price came right back to opening price. It's not really going anywhere. It's just going sideways. So whenever price pulls away from opening price, it's probably going to come back and retest opening price at some point. So just be patient, guys. Don't try to jump into anything that you're not comfortable with. If you're comfortable with the position, then go ahead and take it. Like Satyam here saw the pivot scalp, and then he hopped in and took it on his own. So it's just up to preference, guys. If you guys feel confident about the trade, then by all means take whatever trade you guys see, whether it be a V1, V2, V3, pivot scalp, momentum scalp, etc. Just make sure that you confirm everything though. So don't just hop into a trade just because you think price is going to go one way or the other. Make sure that the criteria is met so that you guys can hop in, get your profit, get out, and then wait for the next one. Yeah, because the market's not really doing too much. As you guys can see, price is literally going sideways along this opening price right here. Just waiting for that liquidity to get hit, but it's kind of far from it. Let's see, price is currently right here. It's about like 500 pips away from the bottom liquidity. But this is what I like to see. I actually want price to continue doing this. So I want it to be like a gradual drop. Like even if it takes a long time, I prefer the gradual drop versus the big drop, like versus this, right? So if you get something like this, margin of error is going to be very high, is probably gonna get faked out on the bottom side. Like what I can see right here is that the market makers are kind of playing with the traders right now. You just use this as, so I'll use the price movement here as a tool, right? So you can see right here how price dropped down. If you were watching price drop down like this, what do you think majority of traders would do, right? Just think from a logical perspective. You see price drop down like this. This is the opening candle, huge red candle, right? What do people typically do? They'll typically enter this for a sell. They'll place their stop loss at the high of that candle. And I see this every time. Like I've mentored so many people and they show me how they trade. And I'm like, yeah, you trade like everybody else. And they do something like this, right? They try to go for like a big risk reward because they're trying to go for that jackpot win. Price ends up pushing up, or the price pushes down a little bit and they think they're in the proper direction. And then price ends up pushing up and they get stopped out. Then what do you think happens right here? And I'm sure this happens to a lot of you guys. You guys have chased the move. You guys have gone stopped out. See price push back up here. And what do you do next? You're like, oh, I just got unlucky. You enter right there for another trade. Put your stop loss below, a certain area right here. And you do the same thing. You try to ride the opposite direction, right? Price pushes up a little bit. You're all excited. You're like, oh yeah, price is going to keep pushing that way. Comes back down, stops you out, right? At this point, you lost 2 back-to-back trades and you're like, crap, what do I do next? You wait for price to come back or decide its direction. And then what happens here? You see price come down a little bit. And what do you do here? You enter another sell. This is revenge trading. It's like revenge trading 101. They put their stop loss again right there. They try to do the same thing. They get stopped out a third time, account blown, right? So what we're doing here is we're pretty much identifying where people are trading. There's no direction. Price just keeps going back and forth. Whoever's chasing trades for the sell or chasing trades for the buy are getting pretty much wiped out in both directions. This middle point right, this blue line is the New York Stock Exchange open price. So that's going to be basically the baseline. So whenever price pulls away, it'll just pull back and it's just like nothing ever happened. It just baselines back to opening price. So it pulls away to the upside, pulls back, baselines again. And you can see right here, price just keeps going back and forth. There's just nothing for us to take here at the moment. Let's see, question from Vince. Vince is asking if this was a V1 variation. Yeah, technically this was a V1 variation. Because the bias right now is bearish, right? Bearish, bearish, bearish. Fundamentals are bearish. Retail sentiment's bullish. So it's not a strong bearish bias, but yes, it is bearish. So that would be a V1 variation for a sell. Vince, I don't know if you caught it, but yes, you're correct. That was a V1 variation. Kind of a tight play, but it did play out right there. Quick V1. Yeah, it's too risky. I mean, I wouldn't take it myself, even if I saw the V1 there, because there's no direction, right? If there was a direction and price was actually moving down, then yeah, okay, I would take the V1 when it would come up like right here. But you did spot it properly. That was a V1 variation. RX said that a wedge is forming. Yeah, I can see that. A wedge is forming and you can come down from there. But I mean, we'll see. Not really gonna predict anything here. His price is really just going sideways. Like I can see what RX is seeing. I can see the wedge coming in, but price realistically just going sideways. It's kind of like your mind playing tricks on you. Like you see a wedge forming and then you think, okay, price is gonna do something, right? Because you're going to say, oh yeah, price can break out in either direction. But realistically, it's the same thing. Like if you just saw that price was going sideways or squeezing, I call it squeezing. So for me personally, I prefer to call it squeezing. It's like this. It's going to have to break out in either direction. So it doesn't matter what your analysis is. If you consider it a squeeze like I do, or if you consider it a wedge like ARC does, it's the same pattern. It's just different names for it. But yeah, it is squeezing into an area here where it's going to prepare for a breakout. The thing with this breakout, you want to be careful if you want to chase it too early and then it ends up reversing on you again, right? I feel like that's what happens with a lot of people. A lot of people just they enter trades a little too early before it's really confirmed, and then they get caught in like for example, right here, see how price is pushing up. I wouldn't necessarily try to hop into this right here because it is breaking out of the wedge or the squeeze or whatever you want to call it. But I wouldn't enter it because I think this is probably going to fake out. It'll probably push up, fake out, come back down to opening price, and then just continue ranging. Same, I've seen this pattern like a million times, so it's not like something new. Yeah, I don't know if price is going to hold up, but we'll see. Let's see, Daniel said there are only 6 stocks in the red. One of them is down pretty hard, so it can change bullish side before news. Yeah, I can see that too, Daniel. So good observation there. Daniel mentioned he looked at the stock index over here, and he mentioned that there's only like one stock that's really holding it down. So let's see. Yeah, it's just United Health Group. So once this stock over here starts to recover, the entire index is going to start going up, right? It's down like 35 points, which is insane. That's crazy. I don't know what's going on with United Health, but whatever it is, it's causing it to drop super heavily. So as soon as that starts to correct, price might continue pushing up. The fundamentals here are starting to drop. It's down at 114 now, guys. So if price continues to push up higher, then we might have a neutral, or it's still going to be bearish. It's going to be bearish neutral now. So bearish, neutral. So it's starting to shift. It might be bullish now at this point, but I mean, we'll see. As you can see, the 1 minute is now swinging to the upside. It's going to be bullish soon. 5 minute is neutral. It's right in between, and the 10 minute here is right in between too. So I'm going to switch that to no longer bearish. It's going to be more of a bearish neutral. Long term is still neutral, right in between. So there goes the bias, not very strong. Looks like liquidity might be getting hit soon. But again, like I mentioned earlier, guys, be careful. Don't chase this too early because I mean, a lot can happen right here. So there goes a breakout to the upside. I wouldn't be surprised if price comes right back down and retest the opening price like I mentioned earlier. I'm going to leave these markups over here so that you guys can see. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if this thing comes all the way back down. Just fakes out up there. And I know a lot of you guys like to call Wednesday Wacky Wednesday. There goes Wacky Wednesday for you. A lot of these fake outs right here. So there goes a breakout right there, broke out of the squeeze. And here he goes, it comes right back down. So this is what I was mentioning about like being patient about waiting for the confirmation, because it's going to shift. So if you look over here at the overall bias, the retail sentiment is not going to shift very much, but the fundamental bias will shift every so often, and then the short term will shift as well. So retail sentiment and long-term technicals probably not going to shift very much, but this is still neutral bullish. So I'll leave this as, so long-term we're still looking for a bullish push. Short-term right now is bearish, but I don't know for how long it'll hold. We'll see. So right now, since there's no overall bias, there's not really much of a V1s that we can take. So if you guys do see a V1 variation, I probably would skip it for now until you have an overall bias, because it's kind of mixed right now. Long-term technicals are neutral bullish. Short-term is bearish neutral. Fundamentals are bearish neutral. Retail sentiment bullish. I mean, the price can really go in either direction. So just be careful. I'll clean this up so we don't have a mess on our chart. This is the clean chart. Liquidity is sitting up top a little bit. So what I would like to see here is if I'm looking for that liquidity, slightly, but not necessarily break through just yet. So I'm priced to push through, range down here a little bit, and then make its way up. That's the kind of setup I want to see. I don't want to see it push straight through, because if it pushes straight through like this, probably gonna fake out and come back down. Pattern like that will happen. You guys have seen this before. Nothing new. It's just rinse and repeat of what we've seen in the past. For liquidity here, I'm probably only gonna go for 100 pips, like I mentioned. Simon said there was double body on top confluence for the pivot scalp. Has a 30-second delay, but Can't think of enough. Yeah, no, definitely Satyam. Satyam does really for being on the YouTube because there is a delay, but he's still able to identify things. So that's how I know like Satyam doesn't work because he doesn't have indicators or real time, and he's still able to identify entries and take them on his own. So nice work, Satyam. To opening price. So look at where price is coming down from here. Faked out again right there. Comes right back down to opening price. No surprise. There's no V1 variations up there, so there's like no opportunity even to look for any entry. So we'll see if it comes back to opening price right there. You guys have probably seen me do this before, like in the past. Try to see if price is like 100 pips away from it, because if it is, that's probably gonna. If it gets to that, it's probably gonna push down and retest the opening price. There's just no direction right now. All right. But yeah, typically, like if you draw like a shaded area of 10 pips and it's like getting close to your target area, like if you have a target area and you have a shaded area of 10 pips, if it gets to within that area, it's probably going to push to that area. So that's like a good rule of thumb. If you're looking for sessions or anything else, if price ever gets within like 10 pips of that price point, it's probably going to reach that point. And this is usually where I take speculative trades. I'm not going to take one here. I'm just curious. I want to see if it ends up going back to open, because target price point was opening price. So see how price is getting close to it and it's touched the shaded area. Let's see if it comes down and touches opening price. I'm not going to take the trade because it's just too risky. There's no real strategy here. It's just all speculation, because we do expect price to come back and retest opening price. It means for sure going to happen, but I'm pretty sure it will. Within that shaded area. And it's got to close below it too, because it can test it, fake out, and come back up. But if it closes below it, it's probably gonna come down and touch that area there. Let's see. Daniel said high-low momentum to opening price. Yeah, possibly. If it ends up closing below there. See how price kind of fakes out. I don't like messing with these. It's just too much of a mess. Yeah, it didn't close. It faked out. It wicked directly off it. So when you start to see these candles with these big wicks, like big wicks and little bodies, that's usually a sign to be very careful, because it's just showing a lot of uncertainty in the price movement. It's okay to have like a big body and a big wick, or like a decent body and a big wick, but when you have no body and a huge wick, this just is screaming for a breakout. So like a breakout's probably going to happen in either direction. My guess is that it'll probably break out to the downside. I mean, we'll see. It's like a doji candle, but this is like a hammer with no body. Volatility is like super dead right now. Let's see. All right, we have that pending sell signal. It's possibly a high level momentum scalp, but again, as I mentioned, guys, I'm probably not going to mess with it. I'm just going to watch it. The candle's probably not going to close. You can see the candle's trying to close with the sell momentum, but it just keeps disappearing. I wouldn't be surprised if it disappears like at the last second, like it's been doing. Yeah, this is what you mentioned right here, Daniel. See how the candle right there kind of just pulls back? I wouldn't be surprised if it shoots up and then it's just like no body and then a big wick again. Yeah, no sell signal there. So no high-low momentum scalp. Unfortunately, closed below the blue pivot, which is pivot 2. So no high-low momentum scalp there. Price is still kind of just going back and forth. 7 o'clock. Price is pushing up slightly. All right, let's see if it goes back to opening price or if it swings up from here. I think price will swing up eventually. I think between this time and 8 o'clock, price is going to push up. It's kind of what I see happening here. Man, Harvick's a ninja trade. Yeah, it keeps going back and forth. So I don't know if price will come back and retest this area. Price still has not gotten to that area yet. I'm trying to clean it up. I don't want you guys to think there's any move there, but I think price will push to the upside. C6 here. Maddie here. C6, Maddie. Is Kip here? Kip is not here. When I saw Kip, it's 7 o'clock. Perfect. All right, so I just took a trade right now, guys. I'm not going to teach you guys a strategy. This is an old strategy that I've applied. C-suit, I just took a trade that that I've been taking in 1 hour. It's locked in 2,000 right now. Or I got stupid slippage. I got slippage at 1,600. I was supposed to make 2,000 on the trade. But if you guys saw yesterday, I posted my profits. I'm not going to teach you guys a strategy. This is just something that I'm retesting. It's an old strategy that I take on the open of the 1 hour candle. You can see this is the one I took yesterday after the live session. It's like way past it. Made 1,000. Basically just go for 100 pips. Because I have like the direction. I have an overall bullish bias. Or not overall, but I have a 1 hour bullish bias here. So I think price is going to push up slightly. Or not necessarily bias, but it was 1 hour bullish trend. Strong 1 hour trend, and price pushed up. So yeah, CC gear there, you saw it. You saw it and you missed it. Yeah, I was waiting for the candle to close at 7, and then I caught the 100 pip push there. It's not going to count as a trade, guys. It's an old strategy that I yesterday. He has a bot that he uses, and it's like it's similar to the strategy that I taught him like a long time ago. He's one of our oldest members, like from way back. He told me what he does with his automated bot, and I was like, oh, I used to trade like that, and I tried it. And it works good, especially with US30 because it is volatile, but there's no entries right now, guys. I'm still looking for a liquidity push up here or liquidity push down here. I just took an older strategy that that I used to apply like way back. I just realized that it works good with US30 because it works good with volatile assets like GJ or UJ or EU or GU. But it works even better with US30 because it's so volatile. So let me take a screenshot of my profits real quick. You know, maybe in the future I'll teach you guys that strategy, but I don't want to teach you guys too many. We already have a lot of strategies right now. And the strategy is cool because it's like a one time, it's taken like every hour. So at the next hour, I'll probably take it again at 8 o'clock. And I'll just keep testing it. If it works well, because I've never tried on US30 except for today and yesterday. I back tested it though. It hasn't had a loss in like, it's crazy. It hasn't had a loss in like in the past 2 weeks. It's like basically the free 5 wins a day. Or free 500 pips because it happens 5 times. Yeah, here are my profits so far. I made it. I'll take individual profits. There's no entries right now, guys, so don't worry. We're not missing anything at the moment. We're still looking for an entry here. There's no high low momentum scalps. There's no liquidity. So don't worry, you guys are not missing out on anything here. I just took a speculative trade. Well, not really a speculative. It's one of my older strategies. It's just not one that if you guys were around K2, like probably like 7 years ago, I probably taught you the strategy, but I never really brought it back because the Forex market was just too slow and it couldn't be applied like how it used to be. So let me see this. Yeah, exactly. C6 said, don't look at it, they'll go golfing. Yeah. Yeah, if you guys remember during COVID, we would take like Forex trades and the trades would take forever because the volatility was so low. I would like be on the live session with you guys and we'd be holding the position for like, 4 or 6 hours and I would just go golfing and I'd come back and then come back with the full TP. So, but now that we trade US30, it's actually really easy because it happens so quickly. Just gonna screenshot this. I could send it to Kip. All right, price is kind of pushing up a little bit to that area of liquidity, but it's not there yet. All right. Send this to Kip. CT, I don't know if CT is in here. MFF still shortcutting me on profits, but it's all good. Bees said guessing it's a wick off the EMAs. No, not even close. Yeah, no, you not even close, B. It's way more simpler than that. I'm trading the direction of the trend using the trend meter and the momentum. So what you said is like complicated because at the 1 hour it doesn't always reject off the or I can see what you saw here. You thought it rejected. We're just writing it in a direction. Yeah, but every hour doesn't touch the pivots, or I don't know, whichever EMA you're referring to. Every hour, because so my logic behind it is that price typically moves quickly on the open of every hour, right? So if you're trading in the direction of trend and momentum, that's all you do. You only have to look for a balance, because if you're waiting for a balance, it's too late at that point, right? The move could have already happened. So I just went directly in the direction of trend. So, I mean, you guys can kind of get an idea of what I'm doing. I just identify what the trend is. Here's a 1 hour. The only thing here is that there was no momentum. So that's one thing that I kind of messed up on. I probably shouldn't have taken the buy there because there was no bullish momentum, but we do have a bullish trend. So, you know, if you have a bullish trend, price is going to push at least 100 pips in your direction, at least, like, for sure. And that's 100 pips right there. It's barely anything. But you should be trading when there's momentum there. There's no momentum here, so it's kind of my bad. Kind of screwed up on that, but it still played out. The momentum is just another requirement that I included in it, but generally, it's not really necessary. Yeah, exactly. B said just identify trend, have momentum, and intertrade in the direction of the hourly flows. Yeah, so if you guys have ever traded binary options, this is like actually a strategy for binary options. If you guys have traded before, you guys know how binary options, they close at every hour, and there's usually like a price area. So if anybody's traded binary options in the past, it's such a scam asset to trade, but if you know how to trade it properly, you can make a lot of money. What I would do is I would wait for every hour to close, and I would buy in the money. So like, say for example, we have a bullish bias, and say like say the strike price was like down here, right? Say the candle closed for the hour and it was bullish. I knew price was going to stay above this line, at least for like 5 minutes. I do like the 5-minute binary options. So I wait for the hour to close, and then I would make like, you know, $500 off that trade. So it's a binary option strategy, but I've been using it for US30 because it's volatile. So yeah, you guys remember those days. I used to use Nadex, if you guys remember Nadex. I use like the actual regulated binary options, though, not like some bootleg binary options that like, I know like that one group that you guys like, IML, that a lot of the IML traders, they do, or people that were in IML, they do binary options, but they use like some bootleg one, like some like scammy binary option broker. They call it like high frequency trading, or HF something, HFT. Like that's risky, because at least when you're trading with the US regulated binary option broker, it's a scammy asset, but you're using a US like you're actually trading on the Chicago exchange, not on like some random exchange that's like created in like Bermuda or something like that. B says, is that exactly it? It's 500. It's not 500. It's only 100. B. I mean, you could go for 500. It depends on what asset you're trading, but I wouldn't go for 500. I haven't even really tested it. So yeah, no, that's why my profits here. If I went for 500 pips right here, I would have made like 10K off this trade. I only made 2,000. So yeah, I only went for 100 pips right there. So, you know, you do that times 5, I would have made 10,000 off the trade. No, so that's the thing. There's no set TP stop loss. Like for my buddy's bot, he doesn't even use a stop loss. So that's why it's too risky. You'd have to find the sweet spot for it. The 1030 probably wouldn't work for this because the volatility is so high on open. So say if price goes into drawdown against you, I mean, it would probably work, but if price does go into drawdown against you, then you'd be holding on to that position for a while, or it might just come down, hit your stop loss, and then go straight up. Because it doesn't necessarily mean that price is going to go directly 100 pips in your direction on open, right? Like the candle could open and then it can pull back a little bit and then it can go right back up, or it can go the other direction if you're going for a sell. So I don't have a sweet spot for it. I don't have I mean, yeah, obviously the typical 1030 would be nice, but if you measure a 1 hour candle, these 1 hour candles are not small candles. So like this is a 1,000 pip candle right here, right? This candle is like a 600 pip candle. So if you're doing a 300 pip stop loss, it's just way too risky, in my opinion, trading on the 1 hour. B said, damn, risky business on a 200 lot. You have balls of seal bombs. I'm just used to it because I know how to run it. Like I already had a feeling price was gonna be bullish, but yeah, no, I use different factors to confirm, you know, what direction price will go. The thing with my buddy that does apply it with no stop loss, he takes like a 0.03 lot size, so it's like he can hold on to all day. So you know, he has like 100 trades a week. It's going to be into profit eventually. Like eventually it's going to make it into profit, or it's going to make it into some profit. So it's different from what I'm doing because I'm taking a lot more risk since I'm trading with like a bigger lot size. Yeah, exactly. CSUK. Yeah, CSUK mentioned got to drop the lot size in the entry. Yeah, no, I agree with you 100%, CSUK. Anyways, here are the profits that I took off that one there. It's 1 second, guys. Let me just message Casey real quick. All right, so here are my profits from that one trade. It's not going to count as a trade, guys, because there's no official trade there. I was just applying one of the old strategies that I used to apply like way back in the day when I first started the group. So here's my my main account. You can see the green strip hit my full TP. Some slippage hit me, but it's okay. I locked in 1,640. Here's my F2 number 2. It actually gave me full profit, total profit of 40 for the day on this one. And then here's my MFF number 1, 720. My MFF number 2, 720. And my MFF number 3, 720 as well. So I just made some profit there, nothing too crazy. Yeah, it's an old strategy that I've been kind of testing through. So, you know, as I mentioned before, guys, I don't like to back test and I don't like to trade demo. Like I never trade demo, even if I'm testing on an old strategy, I use my real account and I get real profit. So I feel like I mean, demo is okay if you're just barely getting into trading, but once you're like experienced, you should probably just stick to a live account and just lower your lot size. I feel like when your emotions are not being tested and your trade psychology is not being tested, you don't really learn because you kind of just take trades and then you just don't really care. But for me, I'm here with a 200 lot. So I'm like, crap, if I lose this trade, I'm going to lose like X amount of money, right? So I know for sure I'm not going to lose that trade. I analyze different aspects. You guys can see I didn't really analyze anything. I just saw things on the chart. And that's how I took advantage of it. And it worked out in my favor. So just, you know, there's something to keep in mind, guys, in the future. You guys can see here, don't worry. If you guys are wondering where the trades are at, there's no trades. Price is literally going sideways. This is a clean chart right here. You can see how price is like literally going nowhere. It kind of pushed down a little bit, faked out, pushed up a little bit, consolidated, pushed up a little bit, back in consolidation. So there's like nothing going on right now. What I can see is that a lot of people are probably just being a little cautious because the Fed meeting is happening today at 11. So a lot of people are just sitting on their hands, just waiting for the Fed meeting to come out so that they can they can make a move off that. But right now, there's just nothing for us to take. If anything, price might come back down and retest the opening price. So it's still at that area that I mentioned earlier. If you guys remember, I marked up a little shaded area here. I said if price closes below this area and it stays within there, it's probably going to push down further and retest the opening price. But you can see how price is having trouble even getting down there. Just keeps bouncing off it. So yeah, price finally does break and close below. It might come down and retest it, but at the moment, there is just nothing right now. It's just pretty trash at the moment, the way the market's moving. I'm going to update these zones over here real quick so that you guys can see. The range just got a little tighter. It's nothing too crazy. It's just a little tighter. Let's see. Vince is asking, all right, let me scroll up real quick. B said, gonna look at it, gonna make sure you insert from the 1 minute trend momentum. No, from the 1 hour, B. Everything is off on the 1 hour. Nothing is on the 1 minute. It's a 1 hour strategy for that specific thing that I'm testing out. Yeah, everything is done on the 1 hour. So if you guys remember yesterday, I posted, let me share real quick. Here, I'll just screenshot my story from yesterday. So like I literally took this trade at the gym. I was like on the freaking Stairmaster and noon, and I just took the trade and I took 1,000 off that. So like I was literally like at the gym and like it hit 12 o'clock and I was like, okay, everything's done off the 1 hour, guys, or just B, not guys. I just want to explain to B. It was just taken off I don't look at the 1 minute. That's just overcomplicating everything. It's just I look at the 1 hour. If everything lines up, then I take the trade. Too fast. You can't take the trade off the 1 minute. You just got to base the trend and momentum off the 1 hour. And then I just take a trade off there. So that's literally the trade I took. I was like literally just standing there. There's Kip. Kip's in the chat, but he's not in this live. He's at work probably. Tag Kip in this. All right, so price came down and retested opening price right there. So look what happened. You guys see what I marked up here? I said if price was to close below, it's going to come down and retest opening price. And that's literally what happened. Price came down, tested opening price. So like the shaded area here, you could use the 100 pips as like a threshold. So if you guys see the, if you have a target price point, all you got to do is draw like a 100 pip threshold. If price breaks into that area, it's probably going to come and hit your target. And that's exactly what happened right there. It broke right through. Yeah, no problem, B. You can play around with it. Be careful when you're taking the trade though, because it's not really established yet. So I'm not teaching anybody it. I'm still testing it myself. But from what I've tested, it doesn't work very well. Yeah, test it out, B. Let me know what you find. I'm pretty sure you'll find really good results. You're gonna be pretty shocked. Because I was pretty shocked. At first, I was like, I wonder if this actually works. And I tested it and I went back like X amount of days and like literally no losses for the past 2 weeks. So basically like a free 5 wins for the past 2 weeks, 5 times 10 days. It's like a free 5,000 pips right there. But again, it's risky. We don't have a stop loss I don't have a stop loss that I have in mind. I just kind of wing it. I go in without a stop loss and I just kind of make adjustments as price moves along. Not something I recommend you guys do. Only if you guys know what you're doing. Like I never recommend you guys trade without a stop loss. Or if I do have a stop loss, it's like super wide. All right, Vince is asking if 714 was a V1 variation. Let me go and check real quick. 714. Okay, so this one right here, I see that there was probably a pending one right there. This one would be a V1 variation. I could just by looking at it, Vince, because for one, it was at the sessions. So you guys got to remember that the V1s, the red flags, apply for the V1s. So for one, that's like the number one right there, number one red flag. It was right at the sessions right there, New York low. For two, I don't know if the bias was bullish. Let me see. For two, the fundamentals, let's check. I think it's still bearish, right? Yeah, the fundamentals are still bearish, so that's not going to align with it. Let's take a look at the short-term technicals and long-term technicals. It's still bearish. Yeah, so if you look over here at 714, Vince, the technicals here on the short term and technicals over here on the long term were either bearish neutral. So there was no bias. So again, that's another reason why you wouldn't take a trade. So for one, there was a red flag there, it was at the sessions. And for two, overall bias here is still bearish. So you wouldn't take the buy. Let's see, Michael's asking at 720. Let me see. So there is a, let me see, 720. Yeah, I don't see a double body right here, Mike. The body's kind of like split. So this one's down here and this body's right here. So I don't see a double body here at 720. The wick right here is also not the same size. This one's bigger than this one. So no double body right there at 720. There's a double body setting up right here, but it's not a high low. So there's no V1 there. Plus there's no sell momentum. So right here at 721, there's a double body. This is what it would look like. Like it's right here. The one right here, they're not lined up. You're kind of split. Unless you're on a different, you might be on a different data set. If you're using different data, it might line up. Let me just check real quick. Nah, still not lined up. I thought you were probably on a different data set, but it's still not lined up on the other data set either. All right, so I mean, there's nothing going on here, guys. Today's market is, I mean, there's nothing. The liquidity hasn't been hit yet. We've been looking for liquidity on both sides, bottom and top. No liquidity, no high-low momentum scalps. You can see there's no buy signals that breaks and close past pivots 1 and 2. So today there just hasn't been any entries, guys. So don't worry, you guys have not missed out on anything. The only prop that I posted up was based off a 1-hour strategy that I created a long time ago. I just revisited it because one of our very first members here, he mentioned it to me that he's been using it and he's created a bot for it that is like very profitable. So tried it out, still works very good. It's just first time trying it out with US30 or YM, whatever you guys want to call it. All right, price is coming back down. I mean, it's still a distance away from liquidity down below, but we'll see. Yeah, CJ said the Dow is down 146 points. So it looks like we are starting to tumble back down. I think price will continue dropping. From my experience, I think price will continue dropping because I'm expecting the Fed news to be positive. So we got a news update over here from CNBC. It said, here's everything the Federal Reserve is expected to do Wednesday, which is today. It's going to happen at 11 o'clock. So for one, key points, the Federal Reserve on a Wednesday is expected to take a break and skip another interest rate hike. So that's good for the economy. That's going to push price up. Following its 2-day meeting along with economic and rate projections, that's going to be pretty much, I mean, it's going to be a mixed bag. We don't really know what's going to happen here. If they do decide to skip the interest rate hike again. And then lastly, Chairman Jerome Powell then will hold a news conference where he's expected to take a cautious tone and not rule out future increases. So yeah, I mean, we'll see what he has to say. You know, Powell is, I don't know, it's not the same Powell that we're used to. So I think this will push price up. I think price will come down slightly. And then when they speak at 11, because the Fed's going to speak at 11 o'clock, it'll push price back up. But right now, I think it's just going to keep, it's just going to keep dropping slowly until it gets down to that point. So anyways, the fundamentals are currently down 160 points now. Yes, they're down 160, very bearish at the moment. Let's check retail sentiment. Retail sentiment is now 61% short. It looks like a lot of them are pulling out. Not a lot, but a decent amount, 1% of traders. Short-term bias is probably bearish again. Check real quick. Yeah, short-term bias over here, you guys can see that the short-term technicals are currently bearish. Price is below the pivots, the trend meter is red, and the pivots are all angling down. So short-term technicals are currently bearish right now. I'm just going to take off the neutral because it's no longer neutral at the moment. Long-term technical bias is currently, it's still bullish neutral. The 30-minute over here is bearish, 1 hour here is neutral, and the 4 hour here is very bullish. So neutral, we can't really use that to our advantage. There was a V1 variation that just came up right here, but it's not an actual V1 variation because the bias right now is not bullish. So I don't know if anybody saw that, but there was a double body right there. So this is what you're looking for, Mike. You're looking for this right here, double body, same level. So double body rejection right there. It was setting up for a V1 variation, but it's not a V1 variation because the bias is not bullish. But it looks like if you did take it anyways, I would have hit TP. It's just against the bias right now. The bias is not very strong for a buy, so I'd be careful about taking any buys right now. Last thing you want to do is take a V1 and then you go straight to your stop loss. Gotcha. Yeah, Satyam said did not take the V1, got the bias, testing my patience. Yeah, and you can see right here it pushed up and then it came right back down. So probably a good decision that you guys can take it because even though it did hit, this should be a lucky trade because the bias right now is definitely strong for a sell. Conditions were not met, so that's gonna test your guys' discipline and trade psychology, staying out of bad trades. See, Gene Vaughn is asking, Sean, bro, when you see a gap, what does that usually mean? So Gene Vaughn's asking, what does it usually mean when you see a gap? If you guys see a gap between candles, that usually means that that there's a data gap. It's just like you lost connection for like a minute or so. The gaps aren't really real gaps. They look like gaps on the chart, but they're not real gaps. They're just it's just data gaps usually. Because if you look at any other time, like any other data set, you'll see that there's no gap there because it's impossible for the market to gap. It's just your internet connection just like froze for a second or something like that. I was messing with Gene Vaughn because Gene Vaughn's like, bro, do you see the gap? And I'm like, yeah, it usually means your data connection between the candle. And he says, you don't see the gap? And I said, you do. That means your internet sucks. Like, bro, Gene Vaughn was asking some like dumb questions. I mean, there's no dumb questions there, but Gene Vaughn always asks me like random stuff. Like, hey, bro, how old are you? Does it matter? Or hey, bro, how much money did you make today? It doesn't matter. Hey, bro, when did you take care of your parents? Does it matter? It just doesn't matter, guys. I'm like, bro, you asked some questions. Like, look at the question you asked. Did you win today? Bro, come on. I'm gonna show you my profits. Every day he asks me something like, Looks like it. Did you? Bro, man, I like I don't care when you guys message me stuff, but if you guys message me like dumb stuff every day, I'm gonna be like, bro, why are you guys saying this stuff? Doesn't make any sense. It doesn't matter, guys. If I'm profiting, if you're profiting, great. If you guys focus too much on like what other people are doing, it's just not gonna make you a better trader, right? Just focus on yourself, guys. I feel like too many people are too focused on what other people are doing that they just never succeed in stuff. So I'll help you guys get to that next level, but just focus on yourself. If people are posting profits, just don't get too caught up in that. Because I feel like a lot of people get too caught up on like what other people are making. Like we had this talk yesterday with Martha. Like she said that she gets FOMO sometimes because people are always posting profits, but she doesn't see anything on the chart. Just focus on your trades, guys. Because people are going to post profits regardless. And you just don't want to get the FOMO or revenge trade or over trade just because you see other people profiting. Yeah, I always mess with Gvon. Gvon's always like messaging me like random stuff. I just tell him, yeah, market's whack though. During the live session. So guys, don't worry. I know I'm kind of going off topic with a lot of this stuff, but there's nothing for us to take right now. So don't worry if you guys haven't made any profit today. I mean, this is just from one of the trades that I took earlier, one of the speculative trades. So there's no, like, I'm going to post these profits, but this is not going to count towards the results. There's no trade that I took here that you guys know. So it's not going to, it's not going to make a difference. Oops, sorry guys, I didn't mean to double post that. See, 7:33. We got about 27 minutes. Hopefully we can catch a trade by then, but if not, obviously we're not going to force anything. All right, let's go back to liquidity. Let's see where it's at. I mean, it's still sitting around this area, so it's not too close, but it's also not too far from where we need it to be. Let's see. 52. So it's about 500 pips away from this bottom liquidity, guys. It's still kind of far, but it's not that far. So this liquidity might get hit by 8 o'clock. This is probably all that I'm looking for now and for today, at least by 8 o'clock. We'll see if we can get that. If not, of course, we're not going to force anything. There is a pivot scalp that just came up right here, but it's at a red flag news price right there. So I wouldn't take it. There's nothing else. There's no V1 variation. There's just nothing coming up right now. This is actually a high-low momentum scalp as well. Looks like. But again, it's at news price, so not exactly one that I'd be looking for. Let's see, Roosevelt asking buy coming. I don't see any buy here. I can see a buy coming like later today for the Fed meeting. The Fed meeting happens at 11 o'clock, so I think the Fed meeting is going to be positive for the market. So that's probably going to provide some buys. But the overall bias right now, Roosevelt is bearish. So not really looking for any buys at the moment. Currently have a bullish retail sentiment. Fundamentals are currently bearish. Short-term technicals are bearish as well. And long-term technicals are neutral bullish. So let's see, Roosevelt said, I said buy when there was a pending buy on the MA break. So I wouldn't be looking for any buys right now at all, Roosevelt. Overall bias is bearish. So even if you saw momentum for a buy or you saw, anything here happening, I wouldn't take it. Because the bias right now is bearish. So you can take a buy if it fits your criteria for the strategy that you're applying. You can take a buy if you like, But from my perspective, I just don't think buys are good to take right now because the overall bias right now is super bearish. The fundamentals are currently down 144 points. Like you can probably cash the little trades here and there for buys, but the weight of the market right now is going down. Right here, you can see it's down 149 points. I mean, retail sentiment's been sitting at this point like for all week. So, of course, long term is going to be bullish. But looking over here at the technicals, it's pretty bearish. If you look over here on the 1 minute, 5 minute, and 10 minute time frames, prices below the pivots, trend meters red, pivots are angling down. Everything right here is telling me to take a sell. Nothing here is telling me to take a buy at the moment. But see, Hussein said it really helps to take trades alongside you instead of trading alone. Loads of patience required in situations like today. Yeah, exactly, Hussein. I agree with you 100%. Like if you guys weren't trading with me right now, or if I wasn't trading with you guys, you guys might be tempted to enter trades here, but there's just nothing going on. As you can see, this is a clean chart. Like price hasn't gone anywhere. You can see where opening price is. Like I've mentioned this, time and time again, this acts like as a magnet. So price will push away, comes back to it, pushes away, comes back to it. And it just keeps going back and forth back to this area. Let me see. Roosevelt's asking, what are you waiting to see before you get into a sell? One of the strategies, Roosevelt. So like, I think that's the problem with like majority of traders. And like, that's kind of been your problem too, Roosevelt, is like, you don't really have a strategy, right? You kind of just enter trades when you see things happen, but you should have a strategy. So I'm looking for a liquidity push for price to get down here. That's one strategy. I'm looking for a high level momentum scalp. You don't have that either. There's just two strategies here that I'm looking for. Possibly a V1 variation, but we don't have that either. So I'm just looking for the requirements to be met for my strategies to be taken. There's no requirements here that are met, so there's nothing I can take. So like what you mentioned earlier, Roosevelt, you were just saying, okay, cross the MA. I think that's too basic. You need to have some other confluences really indicating your direction, because you could have taken a buy here, or you said you were taking it right across the MA. So I'm assuming your MA was somewhere around this area in the middle. You would have been in some massive drawdown because you just didn't really have the criteria there met, right? So if you take a buy right here, you'd be drawdown, I don't know, 100, 200 pips. It just depends, it just depends on what you're looking for. Not to say that you can't take buys here, but for me, I like to trade in the direction of bias. The bias is not bullish. I'm not going to look for any buys. So yeah, main thing I'm looking for is for price to get down to this area. This is going to be a liquidity push, one of my strategies. And then also the high level momentum scalp, which we also don't have here. So those are the main things I'm looking for. I only apply like two strategies here on the live session. Sometimes I do V1 variations, but we just don't have any of those right now. And it's just all about being disciplined, right? So it's about understanding the market and not taking trades when nothing's there. So like right now, there's just nothing here. Price is pretty much ranging, right? I mean, it's been ranging. Let me go and just update this. So I'll leave these higher zones up, and then I'll also leave these up right here so that you guys can see the range. So this is a big range, and you can see there's even a smaller range right here in between. And here we go, as price pushes back up to opening price. That's typically going to be the target price point, like I mentioned. It just keeps going back to this area. So like this area right here, this blue line, this is New York open price. Price will push away and it'll just pull right back to it. I think this is what's going to happen pretty much all morning until we get closer to 11 o'clock. At 11 o'clock, the Fed's going to speak. So you guys saw the news article over here. The Fed's going to discuss, their interest rate hikes, their economic projections and rate projections for the next month. And then Powell's going to basically indicate, what's going to happen with regard to the recession, inflation, interest rates, et cetera, like basically the whole economy in general for here in the US. So, I mean, we'll see. This happens at 11 o'clock. It's currently 7 right now. So you might just get a sideways movement until then. Price might just keep going back and forth from now until 11. You might start to see some movement around 10 o'clock because that's usually where the information starts to get leaked out. So it's going to be 8 o'clock right now, 8, 9, 10, about 2 hours. Price will start to move a little bit. 11 o'clock, you're going to see some really big movements in price. So just be careful, guys, when you guys are looking for these entries, or if you guys do plan to enter. If you guys can see, price is just going to keep pulling back to this middle area, which is baseline open price. So we got two areas of liquidity here still that we're looking at. Nothing available at the moment. Liquidity up here, liquidity down here. These are basically the two main things I'm looking for right now, Roosevelt, these two areas. So if I'm looking to take a trade, it's going to be either to the upside over here or to the downside over here. But the thing is, my cutoff trading time is at 8 o'clock. So if I don't get an entry by this line right here, then I'm done for the day for the most part. I was thinking about continuing to test my other strategy, but I might just hold off on it because we don't even have a bullish momentum here at the moment. It's just, I mean, it's a flat market. And here we go, as price continues to just, go sideways. Let's see, Anderson said, people typically don't share their losses, so it makes sense. It seems like everyone is only winning. Yeah, I know, for the most part, but I encourage people to post their losses. Like if you guys are too embarrassed or shy to post your losses, post your losses or send it to me directly. I don't need to share it with everybody. But if you guys post your losses, it's going to keep you guys accountable. Because if you guys just post wins and you don't share your losses, you're just gonna sweep it under the rug, right? You're gonna act like it never happened. So for a lot of people, I think sharing losses is just as big of an importance as sharing your wins, because sharing your wins will give you confidence and sharing your losses will keep you humble, because your losses are going to happen, guys. You saw me, I lost this week, or when did I lose? I barely lose, but I lost, I think, on Monday, right? Yeah, so I took a big loss on Monday, but I made it right back. Brock over here too. So Brock over here, every day Brock is showing wins. Like today, he made 3,177. He doesn't share with the group, but he has losses too. Like yesterday, he sent me his losing day. He lost 1,500. He said, like, this is from yesterday's live. He lost on a liquidity push. It sucked, but he stayed out. So he's just smart about it. Same with Gion. Like Gion over here, not to put Gion on blast, but Gion won, and he sent me his loss too, right? He like, people send me their losses. It's just that it doesn't really show in the group because a lot of people are kind of scared or shy to post it in the group. But losses happen, guys. It's just it's part of the game. So yeah, but I agree with you, Anderson. It seems like everybody's always winning. Most of the time, everybody's winning. That's why. But when people do have losses, they do share them with me directly, and it just keeps people accountable and humble with staying grounded. Because if you win every day with trading, you can stay in a bubble where you feel like you can only win, and then when you lose, you break out of that bubble, and then your mindset's all screwed up. So I mean, for me, I never trade to lose. I trade to win. So for me, if I lose one trade, I'm pretty much done for the most part, unless I see another opportunity to make it back. All right. Yeah, no, definitely visual. Visual said, Sean, give you all the credit. You show your losses, but to be honest, some members only show their winnings. Yeah, no, and I agree too. Visual, I agree 100%. Like I mentioned, some people are they just don't want to show the losses. It's just embarrassing for them, but it shouldn't be embarrassing because losses happen. And the thing is, when you guys have a loss, you guys should document it and take notes on it so that you guys can understand, what you did wrong or what could have been done differently. That's the only reason I got better at trading was because I learned from my losses. And I feel like a lot of people don't learn from their losses. They just lose, and then they kind of just act like it never happened. But you learn a lot more from your losses than you do from your wins. Let's see. Frederick said you didn't get a buy signal crossing the MA because of market sentiment. No, not at all. So the buy signals don't come up because they cross MAs. I don't even have moving averages on my chart, Roosevelt. So I don't have any. These are pivots. They're not moving averages. So the momentum signals don't come up when they cross the pivots. They do sometimes, but that's not usually the case. The indicator is not created that way. Like if you were to take off the pivots, the indicator still works. Because every indicator is standalone. This isn't all like one indicator. These are all multiple indicators that I created. So they all identify something different. So you can see over here, I took everything off pretty much. Momentum stands alone. So I think you might be, I don't think you're familiar with the strategies, Roosevelt. I think you got to go and like go to the website and watch the videos, because the strategy is not based off momentum. It's not based off anything you mentioned. Because you said, I'm saying you didn't get in with the buy signal. No, because the bias is bearish. So I don't think you're understanding like the bias here, Roosevelt. I'm not taking any bias here because it's bearish. The bias is bearish. It's like, why would you go against the wave, right? If the wave's going down, you shouldn't take any bias to go against it. So I don't think you understand the strategies, which is fine. I mean, just go back and watch the videos on the YouTube or watch any of the videos actually. There's no strategy that tells you to just take buys for whatever reason, right? Just because you get a buy signal doesn't mean to take the buy. This right here could be a possible momentum scalp entry because there's a lower low and then you got a buy here and it's breaking, closing past pivots 1 and 2. That's a strategy, but you don't just take a buy just because you get a momentum there. So it's breaking, closing past pivots 1 and 2 right here, but there's another criteria that you have to look for. There's a lower low, which is here right now. But the candle's too big, so I wouldn't take the trade there. Plus the bias is bearish. Let's see. Roosevelt said, I know, but when the buy signal is on the break of the pivot, I thought that was a strategy. It's part of the strategy, but I mean, it depends on which one you're talking about. I think you're talking about the high-low momentum scalp, but there's other criteria that comes up with that. So Roosevelt, if you're talking about the high-low momentum scalp, there's a bunch of different criteria that has to be met. You have to identify a lower low or a higher high. You have to identify a momentum signal, and you have to identify that it's breaking past pivots 1 and 2. I think you understand this right here. You understand these 2 criteria, but you forgot the first one, which is the main one. So like, yeah, you're right. When the momentum breaks and closes past pivots 1 and 2, but you weren't identifying the lower lows or higher highs. Not every high here is a higher high or a lower low. Some of them are higher lows, some of them are lower highs. So this one right here would meet criteria because it's a lower low. But you were mentioning like this one over here. This already broke and closed past pivots 1 and 2. So I think you mentioned this one earlier with this buy signal. There was a lower low, but this candle broke and closed past it already. So this wouldn't be an entry. This one over here actually would be an entry though. But the thing is the candle's too big. So, I mean, it's still doable. It's not necessarily that big. I mean, this candle is actually okay. So this would be an entry for a high-low momentum scalp. The only thing that I would be looking at that would make it kind of an iffy trade is that it's at opening price, and then also the overall bias is bearish. So it's not a requirement that you trade in direction of bias for the strategy, but that's not one that I would personally take myself. I'll mark it up for you guys. So this trade is running right now. This is a high-low momentum scalp, but it's not one that I would personally take because, you know, I kind of gave you guys my explanation as to like where I think price is going to go. I think price is going to be going sideways or downwards until 11 o'clock because that's when the Fed meeting comes out. I don't think price is going to push up too early. It's too early for the push right now. I think price will continue going sideways or downwards. And then eventually when it gets closer to like 10 o'clock, then at that point, price may start pushing to the upside. But yeah, you kind of had the strategy down, Roosevelt, but you just didn't have it down completely because you didn't identify all the criteria here. So yeah, you know, you had like half the strategy down, but not necessarily the whole one, because I think you were talking about this right here, right? The buy signal. But I think you still have the other criteria over here, the third requirement where it needs to break and close past pivots 1 and 2 with the momentum. You kind of had that incorrectly, which is fine. That Hussein has had that issue for a while too. So the momentum has to break and close past it. It can't be past it already, and then you get a momentum signal. So it would have to happen all in like one push. So you get one push through with a buy signal, and then it breaks and closes past pivots 1 and 2. That'd be the entry. This one right here would not be an entry because the candle already broke and closed past it. This one over here wouldn't be an entry either because this candle broke and closed past it. Plus, it's an invalid signal. This one right here, I wouldn't take it because obvious reasons. I just told you guys overall bias, and I have my confluence that I identify price to come down slightly. So there's just different factors, guys. There's a lot of factors that I can't teach you guys, like, because the market's not always going to be the same. Like if there was no news today and there was no Fed news today, I would probably take this buy entry right here. But there's Fed news today, so I kind of have an idea of where price is going to be going. I think price will continue going down for a bit or go sideways because it's setting up for that bullish push that's going to happen later on at 11 o'clock over here. This is when the Fed news comes out at 11 o'clock. So you're going to get a lot of the sideways downwards movement. And then eventually, once it gets closer to 11, price is going to push all the way back up. And this is just from experience. Like this is something that like somebody can teach you. It's like something that you just kind of learn if you've seen enough like Fed days, right? I've been trading every day with you guys live for like 7 years now. So I've traded like, let's see, so there's 52 weeks in Forex case. So there's 12 months in a year, right? So like say for example, so technically I've traded how many Fed days with you? 12 months in a year, 12 times 7 years. I basically traded 84 Fed days with you. Every Wednesday is like Fed day, like the second Wednesday of every month. So I've traded basically the same day with you guys live for like 84 times. So from trading with you guys this much, I'm able to kind of identify how price is going to move. Like if you traded something so many times, you start to see these patterns that just keep repeating themselves. And I only trade US30, so I see the same pattern every month when Fed day comes around. Which one are you talking about, Roosevelt? Which old strategy are you referring to? Because this one's new, the high-low momentum scalp. I mean, we've been applying this for maybe like a year now almost. So it's not necessarily new, but it's also not old. This one is it's somewhat new. I mean, it's been tested a lot though, so we know that it works. All right, let me scroll real quick and let me see the questions here. Vince said high low at 743. Yeah, so this would be a high low momentum scalp right here. Looks like it, I mean, it looks like it's still technically running right now. But yeah, the way that the market's moving, so typically this strategy is meant for a directional movement. So like, for example, if price directional at all, this type of strategy, the high low momentum scalp, you want to take trades that are moving like this, right? And let me just turn off the candles real quick to show you guys. So the way that the strategy was, like the logic behind it is that you're catching the push throughs. Like you're looking for something like, it's too messy over here. All right, so I'll show you one here. It's easier. So basically what you guys are looking for this high level momentum scalp strategy is you're looking for price to push through. You're looking for price to push through and then go through it like that. That's basically the pattern that you're looking for when you're looking for these entries here. Like for example, price pushes back up, you're looking for something like that, right? But the problem is that price isn't really moving directional right now. It's just going sideways. So it's hard for us to take these entries because when I produced the strategy, we weren't in this type of market condition. Now price is just going sideways. So you can see it better here on the clean chart that there's just no direction. So yeah, those entries are high level momentum scalps, but typically these entries will hit right away. Like this entry is still technically running right now. And it's probably going to hit eventually, but normally when you're taking this entry, you want it to hit like right away, like on the first candle or the second candle. for this thing's been running for, let's see, entry happened right here. It's been running for like 15 minutes now. It's way too long for a scalp strategy. At that point, it's not even a scalp anymore. It turns into a day trade. So yeah, this strategy, I mean, it's a good strategy if the market's moving directional, but you can see here from the clean chart, it's not directional at all. Right? Price just, it pushes away, consolidates, pushes away, consolidates, pushes away, consolidates. And it's just a lot of consolidation. And all the strategies that I apply are trend-based strategies based off momentum. So we're basically looking for trend direction and we're looking for momentum, right? The momentum signal is where price is supposed to push. But look at how many momentum signals we have within this one little area because there's no direction. So yeah, I mean, we got to work with it, but if the market continues moving this way, we're just going to swap it out for a different strategy, like a V1 variation or even the SR rejection scalp, because there's just no entries for the high lows. Or there are entries, but they're not good entries. Like right here, there's probably some SR rejection scalps coming through, but I mean, even the SR rejection scalps, there's no direction. Price is just going sideways. Yeah, exactly. Barack said stuck in the 1 minute range. I agree. Yeah, all right, guys, it's getting close to 8 o'clock. It's 7:57 right now. If you guys have any questions, feel free to put your questions in the chat. Unfortunately, we didn't have any trades today. Surprisingly, we didn't even get a liquidity push, which is kind of crazy. Like usually we have at least some movement for the entire day to get at least some liquidity here. But if you guys look over here, if you just measure it, so let's just measure price movement. Let's not measure these crazy spikes, but let's just measure price movement right here. Price has only moved like about 500 pips, which is pretty, it's pretty low for a New York session. So for like the past hour, price has only moved about 500 pips. That's like nothing, right? It didn't even move far enough for us to hit any of our liquidity points. But that's the thing with the market. So you guys have to understand that the market's not always going to be the same. There's going to be different types of conditions. There's going to be different types of movement in the market, but you guys just have to be very, disciplined and patient. So like, for example, today, there is no entry. So there's no need to force anything. The only entry I took today was an old strategy that I've applied in the past, but it's not one that I would necessarily, recommend that you guys do because it's not established yet. Like we haven't tested on US30 enough for me to teach it to you guys. So yeah, guys, if there's any questions that you guys have, feel free to put them in the chat. If there's any concerns, anything that you guys want me to do differently, just let me know. But, just unfortunately today, there's no entries for us. We tried to look for some high-low momentum scalps. There's technically trades that are running, but it's not the type of market that you want to be trading in because price is going sideways. All of our strategies are based off momentum. So you want price to be moving in a direction. And right now it's just been going sideways within this area for the past hour. You can see it better here on the clean chart. Like I could even take off these zones right here. And you can see that price did not go anywhere, right? So literally for this entire New York session, price has pretty much just been going back and forth within these two areas. And then just pulls right back to opening price right here, right down the middle. So not the best market to trade in. In these types of markets, I'd probably just sit out. It is Fed day today. So, I expect price to keep going sideways until closer to 11 o'clock. So between 10 and 11 over here, this is probably where you're going to see a lot more movement. Because the news is happening right here at 11 o'clock. That's when Jerome Powell is going to speak, and you're going to see more of a directional movement. So yeah, Anderson said you're 100% correct. I used to post to a Discord group I was in at the end of every day, my P&L with my P&L and why it kept me accountable to myself. Yeah, exactly, Anderson. The overall, because you'll see if you guys are improving. I mean, your main goal for the day should always be to just do better, right? Make some profit and do better. If you guys can do that, I mean, that's probably gonna be the game changer and the deciding factor whether you're going to be successful or not with trading. So All right, guys, I think that's it for now. If there's any other questions that you guys have, feel free to reach out. Otherwise, I'm just going to wrap it up for today. Looking at the 1 hour over here, I don't have a bullish momentum, so I'm not going to take the buy, but it looks like it is probably going to play out. Looks like it already did play out, actually. All right, guys, so it's 8:01 right now, way past our time. So guys, if there's any questions, feel free to reach out. Again, if you guys are new here and you guys want access to the indicators and the strategies, just go to the website. Even if you guys don't want to pay for anything, just go and unlock your free access right here, KodiHighTrades.com, click on unlock your free access. That'll give you access to the course, and the course over here will show you pretty much all the strategies that we're applying on these live sessions. So if you guys want to get familiar with my strategies, you guys don't have to pay for anything. It's completely free. You guys can just learn the strategies and be able to follow along during these live sessions. So, all right, guys, that's it for today. If you guys have any questions, reach out. Otherwise, I'll see you guys back here tomorrow for the next live session.